then you start to see the slow progress, and then you start to see kids who, by after 3 years of junior high school English, stop liking English. And it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. Because all of our kids can enjoy English, especially in junior high school. And we have to give them the tools. So here's an example of elementary school phonics in action. So an example video of what we're going to talk about today. So this is one way.
All right. What's this? Good. What's this? Good. What's this? Oh. Good. Now. What's this? Good. What's this? Good. What's this? Good. What's this? Come on, Peggy. All right. What's this? Good. 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 All right. What's this? Good. All right. And psycho. Good. Is it fun? Fun. Good. Okay, we're gonna say it up. It's not gonna do. All right, good. Fun. All right, good. All right.
All right. So anyways, I think you get the point of what's going on in this video. Yes?
What age are you teaching?
This is 6th graders in elementary school. But I've done this stuff with as young as 3. All right, so now within your groups for the next 3 minutes, I want you to talk about and comment about what you saw on the video, okay? What do you think, how do you feel after seeing the video, okay? Good, bad, ugly, whatever, okay? So please, in your groups for about 3 minutes, please talk about what you saw in the video. No, because traditionally Japanese M and N don't really differentiate, so we want the kids to actually...
Used junior high school because the teachers are very keen on following the book. They want to finish the book as soon as possible.
Almost all the phonics classes in elementary school. I tried doing warm-ups in junior high, but the only way it would work is if the teachers did it every day, even when I wasn't there, and they didn't, so it fell apart after like 2 weeks.
It's a shame. But I'm a one-shot teacher, well, pretty much. 7 elementary school.
So many English
I have
not so much. Yeah.
one for the high school.
Which is great. And they take that with them to junior high school. No, but this sounds really interesting.
Was it simple? Simple stuff. But that's not people.
No, it's not the same. Let's make also between the letters and the sounds.
Try to explain this to my kids that
He doesn't explain.
I've decided to tell them that words are a puzzle. If you look at English words as a puzzle, the pieces make sounds. You just put them together and know the rules, and then you can figure out.
I'm going to give us about 30 more seconds, and then we're going to wrap it up.
Well, it's... I was really shocked actually at many junior high school students can't read.
If they were taught the words verbatim, then they know it, but they can't look at a word they don't know. It's really upsetting.
All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. All right, guys, if you want to end your discussions there, I have a question. How many of you guys teach phonics now in your schools? Raise your hand. Cool. Wow, that's excellent. Good. That's excellent. I'm very glad to see that. It's surprising, actually. You guys are in the phonics workshop, so you guys are the masters now. And so now, because a lot of today is going to be basic, so hopefully I won't bore you. So this is Japanese sometimes just so we can keep things moving along. Exchange Japanese. So today's phonics is about what I call Nick brand phonics, or something. It's because because of the structure of junior high, we only have a little bit of time to teach reading, because we have to teach reading, writing, listening, and speaking all at the same time. So my goal was, in the way that I designed phonics in junior high, the way I do it, and elementary school as well, is to maximize the integration into the main curriculum and kind of throw off the extra stuff. It would be nice to teach them, it would be nice to show them, but we just don't need for day one. So really, and what are the benefits for students of using phonics? Better reading, spelling, pronunciation, and listening skills. And this will especially start to hit them once they get up into high school. I know in high school we do all sorts of listening tests with our general course students on things like vowel differentiation and stuff like that. So what are we really doing with phonics? Phonics by itself is we're teaching students the connection between the spoken language and the written language. In Japanese, if I say te, it's always written te, right? Always, 100% of the time. If I say ox, how many different ways in English can we say ox? Can we write ox?
A lot.
A lot. So, what's one spelling for ox?
O-X.
A-U-C-H-S.
Wow, that's more like an ox, depending on your accent. Okay, I'll take that's a good.
O-U-K-S.
O-U.
Ox.
Okay, very good. Okay, what else?
A-U-X.
A-U-X. All right. What else?
O-X.
O-X.
O-X. Very good. Ox. All right. So the idea, and so then we get things like O-C-K-S. Blah blah.
A-H-X.
Huh?
A-H-X.
A-H. Oh my God! Now you're speaking. All right. Same things, but the idea is that English things don't always match up. The spoken language and the written language don't always match up. So our goal as JTEs and as ALTs is to help our students make the connection between all those different spellings and the sounds of English. But we run into a problem. If we don't use the sounds of English, and we stick with only Japanese sounds, the process becomes very difficult. And so, let me say that in a different way. If you are aware of the different sounds of English, then making the connection between reading, writing, speaking, and listening becomes infinitely easier than what many of our students today are doing. What do most of our students today do when they learn a new word? How do they remember the spelling? Memorization, that's right. So, if I give you a big word like, I write sloppy too, look out. Victorian. If I give you the word Victorian, how are your kids going to memorize it?
I wrote.
That's right. They're going to sit there and just V-I-C-T-O. Victorian, all right? So they're going to spend hours trying to memorize how to spell this. If you have if we have what's called, and I will talk about what phonemic awareness is next. If you have phonemic awareness, how might you be able to spell this? So let's split it up, guys. All right, ALT is split up. Victorian, clap it out, the syllables. Ready, go.
Victorian.
All right, so Vic. If I hear the syllable Vic, how is Vic usually written?
V-I-C.
V-I-C, very good. If I hear core, how is it usually written?
T-O-R.
T-O-R, very good. And Viet.
Yeah?
I-A-N, very good. Now, how about, if I say, okay, civic. So, if you have to be civic.
Civic.
Clap it out.
Civic.
All right, so, wait. 1 second. One more time. Ready, go.
Civic.
So, sit is what?
C-I.
C-I. And then Vic. Oh, wait. What's this? Vic. Civic. They match. So the idea is if we start to show our kids these connections, eventually these syllables, at a higher level, spelling becomes really easy, along with reading. So let's keep going on a slideshow here. Possibly. All right, please realize, unfortunately, we only have English 3 times a week in junior high. Does anybody have English more than 3 times a week in junior high school? Okay, fair enough. Besides, going to talk about English, but that's only for 7th and 3rd. No? All right, so we only have a little bit of time, and we have a lot of material to cover. So it's a problem. It really is a problem. Because if you focus too much on reading, then speaking and maybe reading comprehension time goes down, and then the balance isn't quite there. But reading is really important. So it's kind of a problem. And the other thing you realize is the way that I'm showing today, the things that I'm talking about today, are just one way to do it. So what I really want today, is for all of you to go home and maybe make your own way. Maybe take my way, change it, or make a brand new way of teaching phonics in your classroom. What I really want today is to make a fire for reading in your heart. Because it's really, really important. I really believe in reading. Because I've done this I did this in Odyssey for over a year. And the difference in my students that had phonics and the difference between the students who did not was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. It just, the bars like that is, boom. It's incredible. So, and remember the other thing is, especially when teaching phonics for studying, is study smarter, not harder. Teach smarter, not harder. It's a very important motto. Alright, why is phonics necessary? There's a whole bunch of text. A very good book. But the basic idea, there's Japanese subtitles on the bottom. As the vocabulary and concept demands increase in text. What this means is, as the reading passages in New Horizons go from, hello, I'm Anne Green, to talking about environmental waste in New Horizons 3, right? Is it New Horizons? A Mother's Lullaby. We go from, hello, I'm Anne Green, to a big bomb fell on Hiroshima. Okay? So we go from very easy to very difficult in terms of meaning. But if our kids are still struggling with reading, if it's still difficult to say, D? D. If the 3rd year they still can't differentiate between D and B, they're not spending their time reading, meaning they're spending their time decoding. And so the biggest reason to teach phonics early is so that, because New Horizons changes so fast, is so that they can spend more time worrying about the meaning and less time worrying about the reading. Sorry about that. Not to mention, if, for example, to read all this for the JTs, this might be very tiring. It's a lot of English, right? It's a lot of English and not very useful. Well, it actually is, but that is not. But afterwards, if you don't have good reading skills, if you're not used to reading long passages, if it was very difficult, do you feel tired? Like for me, when I read Shukan Gendai, Shukan Asi sometimes, and I read very long passages, and when I'm done, I'm tired. It's difficult. And our students are feeling the same way. If reading is difficult for them in the beginning, especially when they become really, really long passages, then they have no energy to spend towards speaking, listening, or writing. A couple points for language teachers. This is especially for ALTs, JTs as well. Every successful reader, has what we call phonemic awareness. Phonemic awareness should be on, phonem should be on there, and phonemic awareness should also be on your definitions that's on your handout. Phonemic awareness is really the key of what we're talking about. So saying it's the sounds of English. Awareness of the sounds of English. Does anybody know how many sounds we have in English?
40-something?
40-something.
47.
Depending on where you go. Australia. North American 44. North American 44. There's some argument over the amount of vowels we have, which can increase the count. Depending on where you go, like British people are weird, basically.
They have a vowel stop, but we don't.
What? Every successful reader has phonemic awareness. And once you realize this, once you realize that what you are doing inside the ideas of phonics and reading are ideally procedural. Do you guys remember yesterday? Procedural memory. So, but what we're trying to do today, and what you need to realize, is that you can take that procedural memory and turn that into working memory. So once you figure out what you're doing, okay? So we're going to try and do a quick exercise to work on that. All right. How about it? All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Can anybody pronounce it? Yes, all right. We got two heroes here. Yes.
Flossy, nosy, nihilopilification.
Very good. You saved me playing the MP3 on my computer. Very good. That's right. It's a difficult word, isn't it? Is it a difficult word?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So, when you first looked at this word, what did you do? Cry. All right. There's a little bit of tears on the inside. Once you get over the tears, you might actually be like, oh, no, I got to do this. This is important. This is an important phonics lecture. I got to try it. So, what do you do next? You break it up. How would you break it up?
By syllable.
Syllable, sound. Or, so, okay, where did you get those sounds from? Where did you get those syllable ideas from?
Second grade.
Very good, yes. But more in general, for example, did you maybe use patterns that you've seen before?
Yes.
Use patterns that you've seen before. And in fact, the interesting thing about phonics is that your brain, when looking at a new word, will use the most recent combination of letters that it has seen when deciding to decode a word. So it becomes interesting because when you get into words like, it might have been on the handout, or it might come up later, I'm not sure. It's interesting because you get to words like, all right, what's this? Oh my God, that's amazing. Very good job. All right. What's this?
Trowel.
Very good.
Wow.
What's this? Very good. Now, wait. Theoretically, according to the rules, these should be the same, but they don't. And then you go, what's this? Very good. So what you're seeing is that the rules change based on the spelling. Even though theoretically the last consonant cluster is the last series of letters are the same, the rules can change radically. And the interesting thing is, it's interesting for me, maybe because I'm a dork, is that your brain will apply the last seen rule. So, for example, we saw this word last. If I was to show you another word, your brain would be using that rule to apply first to the new rule. And that's important. That's very important to think about when you teach phonics to junior high kids. Perhaps somebody can tell me that in a couple minutes. Why? All right. So, task 1. In your groups, I want you to pick words from either on your handout or on this sheet. And I want you to divide up the words into ways that you can teach them and drill them in class. Break them apart into different pieces. Within your groups, you have 5. Any words are okay. You don't have to do all of them. Just try to break them up into syllables and into ways that you can maybe drill them in class on a whiteboard or on a chalkboard. Yeah. Okay?
Until understanding intent together, because they're all a short vowel sound again. Same passage, that's going to really well. Elation, elemental.
Combination of B and then
That's how you, in America, that's how you do it. Would you teach it thinking or thinking? The ing. Though when you say it, you say thinking. When you read it up, technically it's a THI. Oh no. TH.
Are you finished?
It's by itself. It has to
Maybe
because
either
you have to think of syllables.
I would like to think of words
Well,
used
but it's a teaching.
similar words that the same part. For example,
The problem is
Victoria
that
and sister. Vic was the same. So you can think of other words that you can put about as well. Yes.
How many words should we look at?
As many as your heart desires. The idea is to get you to just start the process, to get the process started. And then I'm going to ask for potentially any dazzling examples or anything that you guys are particularly proud of. Dazzling.
the syllables in between the two X's. And yes. 10. Yes. Any double consonant is spoken to.
You doing all right? Cool.
Or at least, I mean, that's how we write it. When you have a word that has a double consonant, that's what it is.
Yummy yellow's coming down again.
Because if you teach it instead,
You see what's special about yummy yellow?
together, they don't understand why there's two N's.
Think about the way it's pronounced.
If you taught it Ted and this, why is there two N's?
Think about yummy for a second.
What's that? What's that? That
There's
doesn't
two
make
Y's,
sense.
but are they pronounced the same?
The reason that there's two N's is because the vowel sound.
Yup. Yummy. The final Y,
The vowel.
the vowel.
This would modify the sound of the E if there was only one N. That's why there's
So that's why it's decided yummy yellow.
It wasn't. The vowel
Because the kids need some kind of like strong rule to help them associate for obscure rule, for strange rules like that. Like why is it like that? Who knows?
like little, right?
Oh, really? The breaks.
Why is that LITL?
So,
Even
do you
though
have
there's two
your
consonants and it's
dictionary?
weird, I still want to say it.
Our electronic dictionary is the best.
It always shows syllables.
Or,
And now, the next idea that
here's
kids eventually,
something.
that's another each that I got from an ALT instructor. It's called the rhythm of English. And so once you realize that English is kind of like music, the way it aligns itself, is you start to see English, long English phrases like this collapse like this.
Modifies the
So
sound of
thank
the
you.
I, but with two T's, it's like a buffer.
Do you want to go to the movies? Do you want to go to
The two T's, it splits the sound. Yes.
And the sounds start to
So
collapse.
this is in itself, and
Stress
this is in itself. But if there's
And you
only
start
one
to
T,
connect the two of
then
them.
the E acts upon the
Connect the
sound
two
of
of
the
them.
I, changing it from
You
a
start to
short
see,
sound
it
to a
becomes a
long
little
sound.
bit easier for non-native speakers to start to see the syllables in English words. Because you can feel the rhythm. Eventually you get to a point where you can feel the rhythm.
Not many Japanese people know that
Like in my heart.
there's two sets of vowels. This is a little different
And so
for
the way we get there is like
So there's short vowel sounds and long vowel sounds. A, I, O, U, A, E,
Alright, we'll give this about 30 more seconds and then we'll ask for any volunteers or anything.
Yeah, but sometimes I don't know how many syllables are. Sometimes it's like interesting.
Alright, guys.
Or interesting. Sometimes two. Depends on how you look at it.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, guys. Does anybody have any examples that they would like to demonstrate for everybody of how you guys divided a word and how you might show it to everybody else or teach a new student? So from all these words up here on the handout, do we have any volunteers for how to show me how you divided the word and how you might teach to other students? Yes, all right.
Well, I divided all the words into their syllables, but
Okay.
I ended up grouping them based on similar phonetic patterns, such as elation and station and vacation,
Oh.
to show the use of shun, or understand and until to show the beginning un is the same,
All right.
and elementary, invent, and splendid, showing the consonant en pattern.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Very good.
State and station, again showing the consonant vowel
Okay.
pattern with the a sound. And that's what I did.
Good. That's excellent. So now, if I was to put you in front of an each and say class, guys, and I was going to say, how do you teach understand? How might you introduce the word understand for reading? Does anybody have any ideas? Yes?
I would break it up kind of into similar to what he did, two separate words. First teach the prefix of like un,
Okay.
and then you teach the other grouping of der,
Okay.
the der. Teach that completely separately. And then with the and of stand, you can change that. You can have, that's always going to pronounce and, grand, land.
Can you do something even smaller than that?
And.
That's right, very good. So, one of the first words your kids will learn in the classroom probably is and, right? At some point in, I think it's unit 1 or 2. You cover that. So, let's start with and. Alright, what's this?
And.
Amazing, very good job, guys. What's this?
And.
Very good. What's this?
Tan.
Very good. What's this?
Stand.
Amazing, very good. Now, if I was to show you this, what's this?
Der.
Very good. What's this? Now, let's put it together. What's this?
Understand.
And so from and, we build up to understand. And that's the key idea, is we use words that the kids know to make new words. We use sounds that the kids know to make new words when we introduce, again, to make new words or to introduce them. Okay? That's all right, I made a slip of the tongue, so I'll say it one more time. When we introduce a new word, it's best for the kids to make lots of connections in their brain, right? So we use words and sounds that they've seen before to combine to make new words. Yes?
I got a question now. When you're teaching and,
Yeah.
do you push them until they go from on to an, or do you just leave that alone and move on?
And I usually make the funny nose and I go,
And do they stick with it?
You're so crazy! But yeah.
Do they stick with it, or do they
Yeah,
just
they
drop
can
back
stick
to
with
the
it.
on?
Usually what works best, though, is if I have the JTE or the homeroom teacher I'm working with, kind of remind them to use their nose. And once they see that the JTE can do it, and start to use the nasal then they're pretty good about trying to do it as well. Because it's not natural, it's not very natural for them, and it's a different tongue position. So, mouth position. So it's best to have your JTE kind of model for them, that a Japanese person can actually make the sound, and then they're usually pretty good about remembering it. So let's go on to, yes, alright, so let's go with another video. My least flattering video.
What's this word? Song. Good. So what's
basic idea, though, because I'm worried about time today, is that we just build new words when we introduce them into smaller pieces. Okay, so for example, kids will know this, right? What's this? Very good. Now we've learned. We'll talk about this in a minute. We've learned the magic E rule, so then I throw them off by going. What's this? Very good. Now, what's this? Very good. Sorry, the video might have been a little bit difficult to see in the back. And so then they already know this word from an earlier unit. And so what's this? Very good. So we want to use techniques like this when we introduce new words so that our kids can remember it. Because if they remember the pieces, then it's not so difficult. Because they already know pieces. And so really we're turning reading and language into a building process instead of a deconstructive process. All right. We'll skip that. All right, section 2. This is slightly boring, but for me it's very interesting. I will try to go slow. This is theory and statistics about English. Are you excited?
Yes.
Really? All right. So, notes. Oh, the slide is out of order. All right, notes about phonics. We're going to be building on what we know. As I just said, learning the rule is only 10% of the battle. 90% of the real work is in application. Apply, 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 apply. We'll see more of that later. It's important to guide students the answers, but not give them the answers. Because if we're always teaching, if we're always telling them how to read something, they will never do the work, and they will never have confidence. So the best benefit of phonics is that your students, at the end, will have, what do you think? What will they have? Possibly pizza. They'll also have confidence. They will have confidence. And so they won't be afraid to make mistakes. And so even if Nick Sensei and even if the JTE go home, they will still try to read by themselves. And that's the best gift you can ever give your students.
Gift of knowledge.
The gift of knowledge. That's right. It's funny, but at the same time, I swear, you see some of the older students when you just get them down there, give them a piece of paper, they will go at it. No questions, no problems. They will sit down and try and read it by themselves. And one of the benefits is that the other thing about phonetic awareness, sound awareness, is that the sounds that they make sound like native English sounds, or close to it. Much better than katakana. So, for example, a student says, give me a bad, says homework instead of homework, or homework, something like that. And it's much better than saying homework, the katakana version. Instead he's using English sounds, and so I can say, oh, homework. It's very close. But if you use the Japanese sounds, the sound skews so much. And so you don't understand it. All right. Here we go. This is the slide I wanted. Theory about phonics. Let me turn off this light so maybe you can see better in the back. All right. 84% of words are phonetically regular. What does that mean? Does anybody know? Yes.
That means it looks like what it sounds. As in, for example, we had tough and through. They weren't phonetically regular, were they? No.
That's right. Okay, yes.
80% of words you can construct using this method and be successful in getting the final sound.
That's right.
Yes, very good, yes. So 80% we can use the rules for. 37% of the words can be spelled with phonics rules. That's amazing, that's really good. It's important statistic here, kids. There are 44 sounds in English. I think we said that earlier. Let's talk about that. The last point is actually really interesting. There's been studies done of English as a foreign language learners in Asia. Okay? And the interesting thing about, say, Japanese, Chinese, and Korean readers is that when they first look at a new word, they look at the whole word first. They don't break it into pieces. Why do they do that? Kanji and Japanese are what? Phonetically regular. They're orthogonal. So they have shallow orthogonality. And the idea is that with Japanese and Korean, you don't have to break apart the word. If I say, it's always the same. There's no change. But with English, because the written word is sometimes different than the sound, our brains have to split the word apart into pieces and spit out the sound. And this is important. So the idea is that unless we teach the children to break apart the words, naturally, they will not break them apart. Because in Japanese, they don't need to. In Japanese, they don't need to split the words apart because it's very even, right? All right. Here's a big problem, though. In text, the 16% of irregularly spelled words, phonetically irregular words, appear 80% of the time. That's a problem. So if we were to use phonics rules, what should this word sound like? Right here, it's left. What's this supposed to sound like if we use phonics rules? Som. Very good. What is the actual pronunciation?
Some.
Oh, it's a problem, isn't it? And so those kinds of words appear 80% of the time. And so it's a real problem. But it's not actually the biggest problem, if you think about it. Why is that? So these 80%, so these 16% of words, you have to learn by looking at them and memorization. Why do you think it's not a problem?
Well, it's not that many words as a whole. If you can get that group and memorize it.
That's right. There's only 1,000 words like that. Of the core words, there's only 1,000 that you really have to worry about. So,
Yeah, well, plus those are the words you're using most, so they get the most repetition, and they'll learn them, and then...
So yes, there's a lot of repetition. And what's the final point that, in the current junior high classroom, so these are all sight words. You have to memorize them by sight. What's the thing that they're already doing in junior high? Yes?
They're already comfortable with that method anyway.
That's right, exactly. You're already doing that already. You're already doing read and repeat as it is, right? You're already doing sight words. And the current way of teaching English is just memorized by when you look at it. So it's not really that big of a deal, but it's something to think about. Yes?
I've got a question about practical implementation of a phonics program. I teach at 2 junior highs very irregularly. So I will teach the same class perhaps if they're lucky twice in a month. Would it be worth me trying to teach phonics, or do you need kind of regular?
I think you can. Let's get back to that in section 3. Which one when you get off my button and get to yes, we should be able to. We're going to power through this thing. Blah, blah, blah. Your smart kids will make the connections. The one thing you'll notice is if you get to your son and you see your kids, and you give them a new word, some kids will start to break it up naturally, right? Some of your smart son and will say, oh, wait a minute. It's like this. Because I've seen this word. They're very smart. But your lower level kids, not so much. So, it's the kids who don't that you really have to worry about. It's the kids who don't make these connections naturally. And not every student does. Not every native speaker makes these reading connections either. And so we have what's called the Matthews effect. You can skip reading the English. It's a lot difficult. The basic idea is this graph. Yes, they did studies. So they start teaching reading in America in kindergarten. And you'll notice the same thing. So you start teaching English and teaching insane in Japan, right? You'll notice the kids who pick up reading, their achievement goes up as they progress. And kids who don't, where does their achievement stay if they can't read? It goes right here at the bottom, and it never leaves. And the key point is this. The longer they go without reading skills, so the longer they can't read, the more difficult it is to bring them back to normal. So the amount of work required to rehabilitate grows exponentially and becomes very difficult. So that's why it's very important we help our students early. Early, quickly, and often in the beginning. All right. So enough about the math. Case study of 00001. My stuff. So I did this stuff for a year and a half in I did this in elementary school through junior high and raised a group of kids that was absolutely amazing. No fear of English, couldn't shut them up. They always want to speak English. They always want to read. And we kept diaries, so all of my students in junior high keep a journal. So they have to keep a daily life journal. The majority of their spelling mistakes we're all, we say, have phonic awareness. So, for example, if the kid used katakana pronunciation spelling in English, how might they write homework?
H-O-M-U. H-O-M-U.
Okay, H-O-M-U. Second part?
Wa.
Wa.
W-A-A-R.
All right.
W-A-A-K-U.
That's right. Very good. Now, what I'm saying is, when I looked at my journals of these kids who've been going for over 1 year, you start to see mistakes like this. Won't work. W-E-R-K. And the key idea is if you show this to a native speaker of English, this is much, much easier to understand than this. Because I would just go, what? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. If I show this to my mother says, what are you talking about? But if I show her homework, she says, oh, homework. Nick, psh. I said, oh, geez, come on. So, this is what you start to see after a year. And I've been doing rehabilitation programs in Sendai Higashi, because now I teach at high school. So with my general course kids, we do lots of rehabilitation programs as well. And the kids seem to really enjoy it, actually, because so many of them went to schools where there was no English in the classroom. But in Sendai Higashi, we have all English classrooms. And so, for the first time, they're starting to hear and be able to learn to read and make the connections. So for them, it's very exciting, actually. All right, let's keep going here. Been expected. Don't be afraid to use, this means don't be afraid to use Japanese in the classroom. So, we're doing unfamiliar to unfamiliar, which is bad. So start with Japanese with your reading. And what I might suggest is start with Japanese with your kids about reading. So for example, and then slowly move into English. Slowly move into English as they get used to the idea, they get used to the drilling. Okay? So you can ignore this. So don't be worried about using Japanese for reading skills. In most cases, that's actually the case. They start with the kid's native language. Please think about for maybe 1 minute as I'm worried about time for getting to the practical part. What times in your classes can phonics be used? What prevents you from using phonics in your classes? Since we don't have time, I'll leave this as homework. I'm lying. I will give your groups 2 minutes. 2 minutes. In your groups, please talk about these 2 questions.
And also, if you're passing out paper, like even if it's only a minute experience, like while the PT is passing handouts, just be like, hey, what's this? What's this?
It's going to happen. It's going to happen today.
If you're doing that every time, it's going to happen.
When I go back to my classes, when we introduce the vocab for each of the topics, I want to try doing it like and just
They're like elementary school students.
the lesson is the same.
I have a very important announcement to change.
It's true.
There's a Thai workshop so I can think of ways to use phonics in Japanese.
I better be my professionals. So, all right, I'm giving you another 10 seconds.
But this would be very hard to do without a native speaker.
It is difficult to teach phonics around the textbook.
This is the best thing would be if the textbook stuff.
You don't need a textbook. Phonics, you do not need a textbook.
The amount of comprehension for English classes is way
Right.
but it bucks the system.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, guys, I hope you had a very nice discussion. Let's keep powering on. We're doing that time. All right, when should phonics be used? As often as possible, but keep the amount of time short. Maybe only 5 to 10 minutes per class at the beginning. 5 to 10 minutes. Or when you do things like rules, when you do like magic E rules that we'll talk about very quickly, or very shortly. So when I say, what's this? Oh, it's 10. And I go, oh, good, what's this? Very good. What's this? Oh, amazing. What's this? Kim, very good, it's amazing. So we just go like that. That should be kept to maybe 5 to 10 minutes. every class, until your kids get comfortable. And then you're going to hit a point where the kids will maybe get bored with the basics. And so then you'll have to use a more integrated approach. All right, pronunciation. I did not take out the Nazi word. I got in trouble for this last year. I'm a pronunciation stickler. I like good pronunciation. I like good pronunciation for my students. But let me clarify that. What I care about is not perfect pronunciation. Because as the kids speak more English, the pronunciation will start going, but eventually it's going to stabilize. And we're going to have to do this. What I care about, and what we need to care about, is our kids try to make the sound. If they know, for example, the. Okay? I don't care if they say, what I care is they know the sound exists, and they try to move their tongue. Because eventually, we're going to see it come, and it's going to stabilize. So for day one, all right, thanks. For day one, we just want to worry about getting them aware of the sound and trying to make the sound. Okay? Okay? All right.
That's awesome.
So spelling and phonics. I believe I've talked about this already, so we're going to skip it. But real quick, for those of you who are missing the joke, why the ALTs are laughing, morans. So in English, it's kind of like a wakayodo. It's kind of like another word for it is
moron.
Alungawarihito. Is moron. But so he's yelling at them, saying, "You're morons." But he misspelled moron. He can't spell it, so it's really kind of ironic.
Moron. He spelled it wrong.
It's a good word, by the way. Yes, great word. Frequency, we've already talked about this. It makes you think. All right, real quick, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to think about this. How much energy do your students exert when they read? If they read a big passage of text, are they tired? Are they tired afterwards? Do you think if reading was easier for your lower ability students, would they participate more in class? And is it possible to read ability your lower ability students? All right, 30 seconds. Think.
A lot, yes. Well, either it's going crazy or they just can't.
All right, 5, 4, that was crazy. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, not more thinking. All right, next question for you. Is a native speaker required for a phonics-based curriculum? Yes or no? Can you train your JTEs and tolerate your absence? And I forgot to change the English, but will they do it right? Nothing personal. What do you think? Yes or no?
It's always good to try. It's worth trying.
That's absolutely right. No, I actually believe. So I did this in Nada State for 2 years. And my goal was not for me to teach phonics, but for the JTE that I worked with who liked phonics, who saw the benefits, to eventually learn to do things like splitting up the words, to see the connections and do it herself. So absolutely you don't need your ALT to teach phonics. ALTs are very useful for teaching phonics and probably a good resource. But by yourself you can do it. You just have to practice and start to see the connections and change the way you see English. Okay? So that's the answer to those questions. And yes, I believe you will do it right. Absolutely, I believe every Japanese teacher in here can teach phonics and teach it correctly. All right, alternative approach to reading in class. So how did Mr. Tokano teach English in the beginning? Read and repeat. How interesting was that? Now here's my second question. If you didn't have the paper, could you read and repeat? But he said, so for example, it's nice in like Heiwa. You're just hearing and repeating, no reading, no actual work. So a different way in class, and what we do in my classes, is we do have the students initially try to read by themselves. Okay? So for example, you have a long passage of text. Have them read by themselves. What this is doing is having them do most of the legwork. And when they find a word that they can't read, it's going to be stuck in their head. I say, oh, what is this word? What is this word? I don't know. And they'll go on. Okay? Next, we have the students, only the students together, try and read the passage. And last, together in class, we read passages. Then we do read reading. And the idea is that the students, by this point, are paying attention to the words they can't read. So words that they can read are okay. But the words that they can't, they're paying attention to. And when we do that, then things start to they start to get better. Really? Alright. Alright, yes, we finally got there. 15 minutes left. This is the final jaunts. Alright, Magari nari mo, phonics no kyōki. How do I change this? I love this word, brother. Magari nari mo is a great expression. So it's one of my favorite that I've just learned this year. And so we say it's a phonics program, not the phonics program, a phonics program. Alright, so elementary school notes. Reading can absolutely be taught in elementary school. Many of your Eikaiwa students can already read. So if you have kids that go to like ECC Junior, most of them are reading by Inense. Are starting to read small, easy books. You know, about Puppy the Powwow and Puppy Goes to the Market and stuff like that. So, most of your kids in elementary school read. Dr. Seuss is absolutely fantastic for elementary school. You can buy this at Maruzen. You can buy these books at Maruzen. Green Eggs and Ham is my favorite for classics. Senior high school notes. Promoting syllable awareness at the senior high school level can help your students with spelling and pronunciation. In senior high school, clapping is an absolutely fantastic way to help kids, especially for oral communication classes. And in the right environment, you can modify the ideas that we're talking about next to be used in senior high school. New Horizons. New Horizons moves quickly. There's lots of words, right? Lots of words of really difficult words come very, 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 very early. Right? So, we need to work on teaching what's important. Alright, curriculum, once you move past the basics, try not to spend too much time on the rules. On drilling the rules. And instead work on using the rules. We want to focus our time on using the rules. So for example, tough, though, through, thorough. We'll give an example. It's confusing after a while. The alphabet. When you're teaching the alphabet, the current way is what? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, blah, 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 blah. Alright, there's alternative ways to teach it that I like. The one that I like, the two that I like the most are Active Phonics and Let's Go English. Let's Go English is for young learners. It's got a lot of easy sight words that move into phonics rules and pronunciation. Plus it's really good for teaching easy English. Letterland. So if you see these two images right there of Noisy Nick and Impy Ink. When you're teaching the alphabet to young learners, associating an action. For example, this is Tommy T. Or this is Impy Ink. I'm not sure how we're going to do N, but if you start to use body actions and sounds and songs for each letter, it becomes really easy for kids to differentiate between the letters and start to use them together. Letterland is an absolutely fantastic program from the United Kingdom. So if you have special needs students, so you have your walkabout section, right, of kids that maybe have problems, in the United Kingdom they use Letterland to help them learn. It's an absolutely fantastic program. And Letterland's secret is that it uses images, like Impy Ink and Noisy Nick, rhymes, sounds, and songs. Putting things together. Alright, at the very basics, after we've reviewed the sounds of the alphabet, we start to put them together on the board. Start with two-letter combinations of vowel and consonant. So for example, we have, there you go. Very good. So short vowels, right? Short vowels are where we want to start with. Then we start adding a front consonant. So what do we have? Ready to go? Very good. You guys are amazing. Next line. Ready to go? You can't see it. It's okay. Zits. Very good. Now, the idea is what are we doing? We're just practicing putting the words together, right? We're just practicing putting things together. That's all we're doing. There's no meaning behind the words. So when you teach phonics, when you're teaching reading skills, don't worry about the meaning. Many of the kids say, "Doyuimi, doyuimi, doyuimi, wakanda." It's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What we're working on here is actual reading skills, okay? Just practice putting things together, even if there's no meaning. Alright, notes of pronunciation, we've done that. Digraphs and blends. Digraph is defined in your sheet. So, wonderful sounds, wonderful sounds. So let's read these. Ready, go. Bat? Wait, I heard it. Yes, that's excellent. So, yes, it's a trap. So, wait a minute. That's what? So that's one of those special words. When we're doing pronunciation, though, and wo are very difficult sounds for Japanese people. You usually end up with woman, woman, as a woman. So you need to work with ALTs especially. It's very important to demonstrate the proper pronunciation. Kind of like you're gonna kiss your grandma. Whoa, 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 whoa. So like you're gonna kiss your grandma for a woman, and then for that, sticking out your tongue. And if you want, I can show you some pronunciation techniques after class if you're interested, because we are running out of time. All right, in the mix with consonants. After we do those very simple sounds, we have blends, consonant blends. So what are these? Ready, go. Very good. All right, real quick note. Make sure you listen for students who are having trouble putting the two sounds together. For example, "r" will become "bru" on accident. So listen very close for them to make sure they're saying "bru" instead of "bru." So when you're teaching, this is especially for ALTs, will be able to hear this the easiest. So next, this is where we're at now. This is step 3. Step 4 is magic E. Magic E, demonstrate how in simple cases, if the last letter is E, the previous vowel's length becomes
Long.
long. Thank you very much. For example, there you go. Amazing, very good. All right. For many students, this will take lots of practice because it changes. It's like, and then you have things like some, which is a little bit confusing. Some is a very difficult word because it's confusing. So then we're going to move on to magic E. From there, we're going to work on to all sorts of things. At the bottom of your sheet, there is a list of other topics you might explore. Because of the structure of New Horizons, after doing the magic E, I think it's best to teach your phonics curriculum to words as they come out of the book. So, for example, instead of teaching your kids, so like for example, level 5, level 5 might say, all right, what's this? Ready to go? What's that? There's a K there. What is this?
Night.
There's the word night does not appear in New Horizons for a while. But eventually, no does. I believe in Sundance they come out. And no. But until you see this, there's no reason to teach no. So from here on out, as the words come up in the book, when you introduce the new vocabulary, then you teach the phonics rules and practice with them. Because we don't have a lot of time in junior high English class. So there's no reason to teach them rules that they don't need yet. Okay? Second and third year strategies, destinations for junior high and elementary school. Syllable awareness. Things like learning to say fantastic. Learning to be able to clap out new words together in class. Then based on clapping it out, writing it down. It's a big step. Connected speech. Do you want to go to the movies? 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 So, when you watch English go from very polite, very nice, and go collapse at natural speed. It's a big area to go into because this is the biggest thing that helps your kids speak faster. Reading guides. Giving your kids reading guides. So, for example, what I did now today was for every unit, I would produce a worksheet that would have the new words broken up into pieces along with similar words that they can use to practice, to remember the pronunciation, to remember how to read the word. Evaluation. How do you evaluate phonics? How do you test your students? How do you test your students? Any ideas? Nobody? All right, listening evaluation. So, for example, give your kids a blank. Turn your worksheets over, please. On the back of your worksheets, I want you to write down the word that you hear. Thank you. Write the word that you hear. Sick. Stick. Slick. Pick. Gick. Kick. Stick. All right, now, in class, after we give a short test like this, we would write the words up on the board and see what the students wrote down. And then we might do confusing things like change or with different vowels there. Like, for example, many kids in Japan seem to confuse and you. A and you, ah, and food sound. So yup becomes yeah. They hear yup, they hear said in their native ears, they hear ya. They hear ya, because the Japanese sound. Second thing is Foxy Phonics, ALTs. This is put out by Agents. It's a very good workbook filled with listening-oriented exercises. The point of this lecture, though, is really to get your kids reading and speaking. But listening is important, too. So if you just want to do a listening-based curriculum, then Foxy Phonics is the way to go. And the last one is called the Epicdarian. It's put out by some very smart people in America. And it's designed to test native speakers' ability to read. And not everything can be used by Japanese students. But there are 2 tests that we can use in class to kind of help our kids, or help evaluate if our kids are reading yes or no. Okay? If you have questions about the Epicdarian, please ask me after the workshop, okay? Alright, bonus points. Graded readers. How many of you have graded readers at your school? 1. Does anybody know, what is a graded reader?
It's a book that should be interesting, but it's written at a level that the kids should be able to read also. Like,
So, for example,
like they go from like very basic.
so we have levels 0 through 6, right? And at level 0, the book is made of 250 easy words to 5,000. So they make interesting stories. And the idea is if we use these books outside of class or in class, the kids can be practicing their reading skills. Okay? And we finally, yes, we're going to make it! Finally at the end. This is great. It's going to finally come up with this grade. Alright, to summarize about phonics. Phonics benefits for students. Improved confidence. A deeper understanding of English. Improved reading speed. Which leads to what? Say it with me. Ready to go?
More energy for speaking, more interest in English, the ability to comprehend long English passages, the ability to take tests faster.
Very good. Yes, the ability to take tests faster. This will help them with high school entrance exams. Which leads to benefits for the ALT and teacher? Higher student confidence. Very good. And higher test scores. All for the price of? Per class. 5 to 10 minutes per class. How can you say no? How can you say no? And it's really better. So, I think that takes us to the end of this today. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I will stay here for a little bit. Or you can email me. ALTs, there will be a copy of the workshop put online. So you can download the PowerPoint presentation, and you can download the videos, and you can download the... I got a 36-page handout. In fact, so I have a 36-page handout on my website that has